Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday late afternoon, June the 12th, 2022. I hope everyone is safe and doing as well as possible. I'd like to welcome everyone to the show today. This will be my weekly update that I'll be putting on YouTube. We're going to be looking at Climate Reanalyzer. We'll look at methane for the week and sea ice and some earthquakes. So, can't believe we made it through another week. Each week is just, it's just like it's dragging on, but we're still here. And I've changed the format a little bit here. I'm starting out with Climate Reanalyzer at the beginning of all my shows. Then we'll go through and get an overview of everything, and then we dive a little deeper into the individual items. So here we have the 2-meter air temperature, and we've got green covering most of the Arctic here, which we can see any shade of green is above freezing. It's above zero, and so that sea ice is in melt mode now. And here where you see these whites, these are really hot areas. That's above, here's the chart. It goes up above 40 C. So it's above 100 degrees, and some of these places are really hot. So, look, Spain's even in the white now. Spain and Portugal, and from northern Africa all the way across all northern India there. Also, we can see Papua New Guinea has some white. A lot of the U.S. is in the white, from Texas up into Kansas, it looks like, and then in the southwest from New Mexico, Arizona, California, and down into Mexico. Here's 2-meter temperature anomaly, and we've got just some browns over most of the Arctic region, over the water there. We've got reddish brown along this Russia coastline, all of Siberia and over. And then we've got brown here over the Barents Sea and over Russia. And we've got reddish, kind of a dark red. That dark red, that's about 18 C higher than normal in northern Canada. And so we've got brown over most of the U.S. And I've been watching and reporting on this area in the Antarctic. It's been warmer than normal over the Weddell Sea and the Weddell Ice Shelf pretty much all week, and we can see that's we'll look at that on a different view in a moment there. See the brown coming down, and then we got the blues right next to it, the cool air, and that's the jet stream is broken, and the cool air is looping around, not staying in the Arctic, obviously. Worldwide, we're up 0.3 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.7 C. The Arctic is up 1.2 C. The Antarctic is down 1 C. The southern hemisphere is down 0.1 C. And the tropics are in balance. Now, wanted to show a different view of the Antarctic. Oh, and look at this at Russia. See, that's moving on up into like 24°C higher than normal. So here's the Antarctic, and here's north, south, east, and west. Here's the western peninsula. So we've got red over this Weddell ice shelf and into the pink zone. So that's 18 to 24°C higher than normal. And then over this whole Weddell Sea, that's been reds and pinks and browns all week. And then a lot of the interior, see, is in the browns. But then we've got a lot colder than normal around the exteriors. So that's what's bringing the Antarctic to 1°C lower than normal. It was up above, above freezing. I mean above in balance this week. I mean warmer than normal, not above freezing. So there's that. Now here's precipitation and clouds today. Look at this rain, this atmospheric river coming up the Atlantic with rain around the coast of Greenland. We've got rain in the North Atlantic and coming up in this Barents Sea and along the coast of Norway, Finland, and Russia there. We've also got rain across Russia there. And it looks like it's raining. There is some green, which is the rain here over the Laptev Sea. So wherever it's raining, if there's ice, it'll be melting out pretty fast. And here's what used to be the jet stream. You can see how it's broken up here. Here's the flat view. And it's broken. See these loops coming down. It broke sometime last summer and it's just been getting stranger every time I look at it. Here's sea ice and snow cover. We are starting to see melting reflected here in this model. See the open water here in the Laptev Sea, and see the darker where it's the concentration is not solid white, it's more of the bluish. That's where the ice is melting, and you can see the change in the color around this eastern edge, and also here in the Hudson Bay and the Baffin Bay, and here the Bering Strait is open. And this is sea surface temperature anomaly. This was updated on to Wednesday the 8th. So that's a few days ago, but this is the latest of what we have. And we can see the brown appearing. This is where the sea surface temperature is warmer than normal. And this is where the ice is already melted. See up here next to the Bering Strait. And look at all around Alaska And Russia, see, it's in the browns and reds now. Iceland. Oh, and look up here around this Russia coastline and around Novaya Zemlya, Svalbard. We're getting a lot more browns coming in. And here in the North Atlantic, we've got deep browns moving into red next to the UK. And here, off the coast of the US and Canada, we've got reds and into pinks. And pink is, the light pink is 6C, higher than normal. The Gulf of Mexico is going brown. Here's the flat view. And here in the Arabian Sea, that's going brown. Persian Gulf, brown. The Red Sea is going brown. The Mediterranean is going brown and red. Let's see. And here's the Black Sea, Caspian Sea, and so forth. And see around Australia, between Australia and Papua New Guinea, it's going deep brown. And brown all around New Zealand. And then this red up here in the Sea of Okhotsk. Worldwide, we're up 0.4C higher than normal. Northern Hemisphere is up 0.6C. Southern Hemisphere is up 0.3C. The North Atlantic and North Pacific are up 0.5C. And the Equatorial Pacific is down 0.2C. The Equatorial Pacific is this blue. The blue area there. Now we'll move on to methane. I have 2 days worth of methane data to show on NOAA, Friday and Saturday. Here we're on Saturday the 10th in the morning for the MET-OP-B or MET-OP-1 satellite. And we're tracking this 469 millibar reading. The mean or average was 1925 parts per billion. The high reading, look at this, it spiked to 2749. Now we don't know where that happened, somewhere in the pink zone. It's a this pink is a range between 2000 and whatever's the highest reading. Here it's 2749. And it probably happened, well, it could have happened anywhere in any of the pink zones, but the Scandinavian area has been really heavy. Some of these areas in Russia heavy. In the US, some of these areas have been heavy. But look how the pink is coming all the way down to the Antarctic, to the coastline. In the afternoon, the mean was 1925, and the high reading was 2335. And then for Saturday the 11th in the morning, the mean was 1925. The high reading was 2393, so that went back down. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1924, and the high reading was 2303. Here's the spreadsheet. So for the 11th, that averages out to be 1924.5 parts per billion. giving us an overall decrease this week, a slight decrease of 0.5 part per billion. And so we can see the line just barely went down here this week. Right now we're 14.5 parts per billion higher than we were a year ago, and we're 55 parts per billion higher than where I started this on March the 1st of 2019. And it's, see, the increase this year, it's just kind of like a slow rise, and not as steep. It's not a steep jumping up. It's a slow, but I mean, it's June. It's almost mid-June, and so it should be really starting to go up. Like, see, it was going straight up some of these weeks in a row, last year especially. Let's see what it did this week. So in my show last week, for the 4th, we were at 1925. Then on the 5th, it went up 1 part per billion. On the 6th, it went up 0.5 part per billion. On the 7th, it went up 0.5. On the 8th, it went down 0.5. No change on the 9th. And then on the 10th, it went down 1.5. And on the 11th, it went down 0.5. So this is typical to see it go up some a few days, and then it backtracks and goes down a few days, and then it heads back up. Now we'll look at the CAMS data. I have Saturday the 11th ready, Arctic view, and surface level ready. Here's our color ledger. So the data is for Saturday, and the forecast period is Sunday through Wednesday. See, this whole Scandinavian area is just a big blob from Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. Now it has been raining there, so that increases the methane releasing as well. And here in the interior of Russia, see, we're seeing these areas really picking up as things are heating up. Here's it's percolating in the North Kara Sea, and it's sporadically percolating here at Komsomolets, and here at Koktovik, Alaska, and see, the interior of Alaska is really coming to life. And here's our problem spot in the North Atlantic off the coast of Canada, and you can see areas of Canada becoming blobby, like here beneath or below the Hudson Bay. Now we'll go I don't know how much we'll be able to see on the Antarctic view. This background color is at 1840 now, right here. And so we can still see some higher readings here around the Brunt ice shelf. And a little bit of green streaming down from South America. Those are higher readings. And down from Australia, New Zealand. Here's some higher popping up on the northern coast, here at the Amory ice shelf. It's a very subtle difference between 1840 and 1860, so it's kind of hard to tell. Now we'll go to the global view. Here in New Zealand, especially that, well, both islands have got some high readings there. Look, it's coming off of Africa. I think I skipped the North Pole view. Look at this, the US here. That's just really just blobby day after day, from the Midwest over east. It's in northern part and then over. Persian Gulf is filling up, India, China. Look at these around the coastlines of Australia. Those are really coming to life. Let's see. And then here's 500 HPA, and here the heaviest is over China, Southern Asia over to India, then it's look over the Arctic, and we've got reds coming further south, yellows coming down. In total column. And here, heaviest China over to India, and then the reds. So now we'll move on to our sea ice part of the video. Okay, we're going to start with the Navy sea ice thickness models. This is the Arctic. Here's our chart on the right. It goes from 0, which is nothing, up through, well, backwards through the rainbow up to this dark red, which is 5 meters thick. And we can see as we zoom in, this Laptev Sea is in high melt. See all this open water here? We've got a little fringe of ice in that little cubby hole. Then next to the Taimyr Peninsula, also this Kara Sea is in high melt. There's a lot of open water here. The Gulf of Ob, and this eastern edge of the ice is melting down. And we can see here it's opened up in the Bering Strait and retreating in this Chukchi Sea. And the Beaufort Sea, is still kind of holding together. We're not seeing a lot of diminishment here yet. Here's this hole next to Canada, and we are seeing the green, which is about 3 meters thick. That's starting to go down. And what you'll see in the animation is this thicker ice folding in as it's pulled out from the coastline and then comes back. And here around Greenland, this eastern edge is melting, and we can see it's melted way up here in the Baffin Bay, almost all the way up. And the Hudson Bay here is in high melt. These tributaries are starting to really thaw out now. We're seeing darker aquas. Instead of the bright aqua, we're seeing the darker aquas as it's thinning down. And this is the 30-day animation updated to yesterday. So the data goes back 3 weeks and the forecast goes out to next Saturday. So let's see what they're showing on this model. Watch here. See the Kara Sea. That's thinning way down. And this eastern edge is coming way in. And let's look here in the Laptev Sea. See, that's clearing out. And changing, going from dark aqua, thinning way down into the dark blue, into the purple, so about 1 meter thick. And it's almost in this semicircle where it's melting out first. And we can see dark aquas coming across all the way from Siberia all the way. And here in the Beaufort Sea, we're starting to see darker aquas as that's starting to thin out. And watch this. Oh yeah, on that forecast period, this green is going way down. You can see the thinning down. Here in the Baffin Bay, let's watch that. So that's thinning way out. Hudson Bay, same thing. and the ice is flowing through these tributaries, and that's a exit point. And also through this nearest strait, that's a big exit point for the ice, and this Fram Strait flowing down. And here's the Beaufort sea ice thickness. Canada is here on the right. Alaska's at the bottom. Here's this big hole around Alaska. And this hole by Canada, here's where it's pulled away from the coastline with the ice drift. And this model, this 30-day model, was updated to today. So the forecast goes out to next Sunday. See the lines? That's where the leads are opening up. That's the cracks in between the large pieces of ice. And they're thinner, and so they melt first, and it opens up, and those melt, and then the ice cubes melt and jostle around. So we're starting to see a big change in the thickness here along this Canada coastline. This green is breaking up, and see how it pulls away from the coastline and breaks up and then slides back over. And you can also see the ice moving out, see, moving through those tributaries. So there's that. Here's the Antarctic sea ice thickness. This is for today. And as it's regrowing around the continent, it's filling out more on this western side and southern edge. It's thickening, moving into the dark purple and blue here in the Ross Sea. And then a little more ice growth extent-wise. And here over the Weddell Sea, this is where we saw the 2-meter temperature anomaly here. Oh, I forgot to show, see if I don't have it up, the ozone. I'll show that in a minute. But the ozone hole is forming over the interior, and our iceberg A76 is breaking free. We'll show that in a minute here. Here's the 30-day animation updated to yesterday. So again, the forecast goes out to next Saturday. And now notice this extent pulls back and then it comes back out. This is in that Weddell Sea. And then we see the extent filling out here on this west side. And now this is the National Snow and Ice Data Center info. Their latest info is for the 10th here. This is the Arctic sea ice concentration. See all these blues? That's where it's melting. And the darker blue it is, the less ice it is, the more it's melted. Look at this line next to the North Pole. So that's melting out there. This Baffin Bay, these tributaries, Hudson Bay. Look at this whole east side of Greenland, that's in high melt, and so on here in this East Siberian Sea. Here's Arctic sea ice extent, again for the 10th. The dotted line is 2012, the blue line is this year, and we're just running parallel with 2012, going down. And but the sea ice is much thinner than it was in 2012, so we don't have as much volume to work with as it's melting. Here's the Antarctic sea ice concentration. The yellow is missing data, also these yellow lines. And the golden line, that's the median, and we can see we're well below the median here around the Weddell Sea. Here's the extent again for the 10th. This is on the refreeze, and the blue line is this year, the green line is last year, the gray line is median, and we're still quite a bit below last year and the median, and it's kind of angling a little bit down there. And Greenland daily melt. This is for yesterday, and that salmon color is where it's melting. So look, even up on the northern edges we've got the ice sheet melting, and this whole western edge is melting, and then around this southeastern and southern edge. And see a little bit here on this eastern side. Here's the cumulative daily melt days. See the blues that are now registering all around the edges. Here's the chart for the melt extent for this year. The blue line is the median. The red is this year, and we're a little bit below right now, but see earlier this week, see how it jumped up. It really spiked up, but it's melting, definitely. That's all of that. Now before we go on to NASA Worldview, we'll look at the ozone real quick. Go to today. Here it is with the global view. See the break. That's where it's we're seeing the 2-meter temperature anomaly all week, and we've got aqua down here over the Weddell Sea, then the break coming up through South America, and see we've got greenish up in the North Atlantic coming onto the west coast and that greenish color is right here 260, 280 Dobson units, 280 to 300. It's below normal. And see these greens? This is over the Himalayas. That's the 260 to 280 Dobson units right there. And then this blue-green, what I call blue-green, is 240 to 260. The aqua is 220 to 240. Here's some more aqua just below Indonesia. And then when we get into this bluish purple color, that's 200 to 220. There will be a thick black line around that, and that's considered in the danger zone when it gets that thin. Here's the Antarctic ozone for today, and see the aqua here over the Weddell Sea, and then the blue-green. Let's see, here's more aqua, and more aqua here over South America, and we can see the hole is setting up over this interior. Here's the Arctic view of the ozone. And all that real heavy has dissipated or spread out or something. Now here's the greenish. So you coming across. I think that's Northern California there. So there's that. Now we'll move on to NASA Worldview, and I want to start in the Antarctic. See, it's all dark down here, but we're going to turn on this nighttime layer, and this is exceptional today. The view today with this nighttime layer is just exceptional. I mean, everything is showing up. And so let's start here. And I've been tracking, this is the Western Peninsula. Here's our iceberg A76. And see, there's no ice out in front of it. And there's an edge of ice just to the south of it. It looks like it's trying to capture it, freeze it in, but I don't think it's going to get frozen in. I think it's got momentum, and it's going to be moving out before this ice freezes in around it. So let's see what it's done this week. I didn't mean to do that. So we'll go back to the 5th. Here we were on the 5th, and it was kind of grainy. So some of these are not real good. Can't see it on the 6th. There was a cloud. Here it was on the 7th. It jumped up a lot there. Here's the 8th, 9th. Can't see it very well. And here's the 10th. Now this is a really good view, and if we zoom in, we can see the edge. Here's the iceberg, and here's the sea ice that's trying to freeze around it, but you see the cracks. It's not frozen in. And then the 11th, can't see it, and here we are today. So it's making progress, and looking down here, here's the Brunt ice shelf right here. See this open water? And a lot of areas up by the coastline, there's open water or really thin. Now this is an area where we're seeing methane come up all along this coastline. And look at this view. I mean, the ice is perfectly clear. It's amazing. Here's the north side. Here's the coastline. See? Very thin right along the coastline. And the east side. And the Amory ice shelf is right in here. Here it is. So here's yesterday. Can't really see it that good. Here's the day before. These are rocks or kind of juttings, outcroppings. And these are clouds here, so it's kind of hard to see. But see, here's the coastline. That's open. So no. And here's some open water or just kind of flimsy ice there. Here's this eastern side. There's the ice. Not much, is it? See? And coming around. And here's the southern. This is the Ross Sea. Here's the Ross Ice Shelf. Here's Ross Island. There's Mount Erebus volcano. And see, there's quite a bit of open water here, but it's refreezing slightly right in there. There's the ice shelf. There's the ice where it's refrozen in the Ross Sea. See, it comes down to here. And then this western side, here's the ice. It's the coastline. And right up here, under these clouds, this is the Thwaites Glacier. This is the ice tongue. Look, you can see where it's broken up. You would think that would all be solidly freezing, but it's not. Here it was on the 10th. Look at this. See? Look at... There's that's the ice coming up to the coastline. There's a big break there. Here it is today. I thought that was a break. Let's look at it again. Yeah, it is. See? That's pulled away. That's on the 10th. Pine Island Glacier is up there. Can't see it. It's under a cloud. Here's the shelf coming down, and that's all we can see on that. And then coming around, and here's the Western Peninsula. This is the Larsen C ice shelf. Here's the sea ice, and what's left of the Larsen B. And A is demolished. A and B are gone. A went away first. And back to our iceberg A76. So I'll keep everyone updated on this. I wonder if there are going to be reports when it breaks free and out solo in the ocean. You heard it here first. Now we're moving on to the Arctic. Look at this. Now this layer is the sea ice concentration layer, and we'll turn on the blue marble layer, and that turns off the clouds. Here we are today, where all the colors are. That's where it's melting. And see the kind of blackish areas, that's no ice. So let's see what it did this week. Let's go back to the 5th. So here we were on the 5th last week. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Look at this. See, just above the North Pole. And 12th. And we've got holes opening up around New Siberian Islands, and you can see this Laptev Sea is in high melt, and then this East Siberian Sea, that's in high melt too. So we'll turn those layers off. And we'll zoom in with the satellite view. Now down here is the Hudson Bay. See the open water. And then here's the ice further south. And these tributaries. Here's Greenland. Baffin Bay. See, it's melted away from, see, there's a demarcation. Here's the little shelf right around the edge of Greenland, and then the sea ice. So, see, that's breaking apart. And here's the nearest strait. this ice is flowing down. Let's see. We've got some clouds, but look here. Let's see. See these big pieces? They're just flowing down. Here's the Lincoln Sea. We have a big cloud today. Let's look at yesterday. Here's yesterday. It's a better view. So this is all in motion, moving down. Down and out. And then here's Greenland. Look at this. Now here's the northern edge of the ice, and then here's where it's broken away. This is the sea ice. See, that's melting. That's yesterday. That's a good view. Look at this. Here's open water. Let's go to today. Clouds. Now here on this northeast edge. See, that's cracking up. And this east side, you can see that's melting. Now coming on up, here's Svalbard. That's open around there. Here's yesterday. Now, got a lot of clouds, but if you can get a day without the clouds, you can see a lot of open water around there. And coming up, here's Franz Josef Land. Wrong day. And here's Novaya Zemlya. No ice down here. Here's a cut and paste. See, the clouds don't match up. So there's no ice here. Here, oh, this is a good view. Here's the Kara Sea. Here's the ice. That's see, it's closer to Novaya Zemlya. This is in high melt. And see the coastline. Here's the Yamal Peninsula. Look how this has melted this week. Here's the Gulf of Ob. Now we've got clouds over that. Look at this. Here's the 10th. See, that's open. Here's some ice. But, see, that's melting. And then that's open down there. We'll come back. Here we are today. We've got a cloud, but there's a lot of open water. And you can see the pieces of ice under the clouds. Or through the clouds. And here's Severnaya Zemlya. And see, open water and then ice. Here's Komsomolets, and it's right down here where we've seen methane coming up, and kind of over here in the North Kara Sea. So you can see the ice breaking up. A lot of open water here. Here's the Taimyr Peninsula, and there's the ice. And look, open water. This is the Laptev Sea. There's an ice ledge around the coastline. And New Siberian Islands. Here's the melt here. See? Here's ice, and then back up to the Siberia coastline. Coming around. Here's open water. Here's Wrangel Island. There's some open water there. And here's the Bering Strait. Look at that. Anyway, that's clouds over that. That's open. Look at that. So there's no ice there. Here's the 10th. Look at this. So here you can see there's no ice. That's all melted. Didn't see along the Alaska coastline. See the sediment there. And then coming back to today, we've got clouds. And here's Barrow. There's the ice. And here's the Beaufort Sea. With the ice here, we can see what's happening. It's breaking up. And here's the Canada coastline. Here's where it's pulled away. And coming on around. And we're back to Ellesmere Island and Greenland. Now I wanted to show, where was it? Up here. Look at these cracks. See, that's opening up. This is getting close to the North Pole. That crack right there, that's it. 88.7 north latitude. And the North Pole is at 90. Here's some more. It's kind of hard to see. There's a crack. Some more cracks. And we saw now, according to this other layer, okay, where was it? Look, on the 11th, see how, I'm thinking those were holes that opened up where the yellow is, and if there's not any clouds, we might be able to see something. I can barely make out some cracks there, but we've got clouds there. And we're back to today. So we'll start seeing dramatic changes from week to week now. And if you'd like to see updates during the week, I encourage you to join us on my Subscribe Star page. And I do a midweek update, usually on Wednesdays. Sometimes I do it on Thursday, but usually on Wednesdays. And then I do some kind of reporting every day over there. And the link is in the description box below. And that's one way you can support my work for $5 a month. And or if you want to just PayPal me a donation, that's in the description box below as well. And that's appreciated. Now let's look at earthquakes. Now right now we've got 188 earthquakes worldwide, and we had a bunch of 5s show up yesterday. 5.1 Nami, Japan. 5.1 Ursis, Turkey. Here's something going on. Look at this. In the mid-Atlantic, we've got 4 here all lined up. 4.8, 5.1, 4.9, and 4.8. This is near Georgetown, St. Helena. It's in the Ascension fracture zone. Not far. Here's Ascension Island. It's just east of Ascension Island. 4 in a row there today. Ecuador has 2. 4.5 Archidona and 4.1 Angel. And look at this. We've got 1 here in the Gulf of California, 4.2. That's at the top of that Cocos plate and on that Imperial fault line, which becomes the San Andreas fault line in California. See, we got more there. And let's see what Alaska's doing. They've got 48 today. That's kind of an average number for a day. And let's see, we've got these 4s around Indonesia. And what's going on? We've got here 4.3 in the Xinjiang border region on the Tibetan Plateau. 4.0 Tajikistan. 4.4 Tajikistan. 4.2 Afghanistan. Look at this. 5.1, that's on the east end of Turkey. So that's down here. 5.0 South Sandwich Islands. So let's see. Let's turn on 7 days all magnitudes. So for the last week, we had 1,841 earthquakes. There was another big one here in South America, 6.5 at Taraqua, Brazil, 621 kilometers deep, and that came in on the 7th. Very deep. And you can see all these big dots. Lots of movement. So that's my show for tonight. And we'll finish up by continuing to read out of the Book of Wisdom, written by King Solomon, considered the wisest man in the world. And this is from the Apocrypha. Wisdom, chapter 5. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be touched with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, This was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without humor. How is he numbered among the children of God, and his lot is among the saints? Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness hath not shined unto us, and the Sun of righteousness rose not upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts, where there lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. What hath pride profited us, or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by, and as a ship that passeth over the waves of the water, which when it is gone by, the trace thereof cannot be found, neither the pathway of the keel in the waves. Or as when a bird hath flown through the air, there is no token of her way to be found, but the light air, beaten with the stroke of her wings, and parted with the violent noise and motion of them, is passed through, and therein afterwards no sign where she went is to be found. Or like as when an arrow is shot at a mark, it parteth the air, which immediately cometh together again, so that a man cannot know where it went through. Even so we in like manner, as soon as we were born, began to draw to our end, and had no sign of virtue to shew, but were consumed in our own wickedness. For the hope of the ungodly is like dust that is blown away with the wind, like a thin froth that is driven away with the storm, like as the smoke which is dispersed here and there with a tempest, and passeth away as the remembrance of a guest that tarrieth but a day. But the righteous live for evermore, their reward also is with the Lord, and the care of them is with the Most High. Therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom, and a beautiful crown from the Lord's hand, for with his right hand shall he cover them, and with his arm shall he protect them. He shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor, and make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies. He shall put on righteousness as a breastplate, and true judgment instead of an helmet. He shall take holiness for an invincible shield. His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword, and the world shall fight with him against the unwise. Then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds as from a well-drawn bow shall they fly to the mark. And hailstones full of wrath shall be cast as out of a stone bow, and the water of the sea shall rage against them, and the floods shall cruelly drown them. Yea, a mighty wind shall stand up against them, and like a storm shall blow them away. Thus iniquity shall lay waste the whole earth, and ill-dealing shall overthrow the thrones of the mighty. Wisdom chapter 5. So I'm praying for everyone. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I highly recommend it. Hope everyone has a good week, and until next time, I love you and I'm praying for you. God bless you. Go in peace, and I will talk to you soon. Good night.